You're live on the air. Go ahead with your question, my friend.
My question is that it always seems slightly puzzling to me that Christians use Isaiah 53 as a proof for Jesus being the Mashiach, being that, as you always mention, that it really starts from 3 verses earlier. So is that mistake of the chapter break just from the chapter break from the 13th century when the church made it? Or is it something a little bit more? Because I actually noticed when I was checking up before I called that it is a parsha stuma. But is that where the chapter break really comes from? And is that where some of the confusion comes from? Thank you very much.
Rabbi?
There is a pericope that really starts with 52, verse 13, and ends in 53, verse 12. Pericope is a bundle of passages that belong together, that are strongly related. So this is one. However, there's a reason why there's an ending at the end of 52, verse 12. There's a stuma, which means an ending. There is a reason why 52, verse 15, and 53, 1 are separated by a chapter, and that is who is speaking. If I tell you that people find themselves in the Christian religion because they have no clue who is speaking in these passages, and as it turns out, within this one bundle of passages, you do have 3 sections within the pericope. The first section is 52, verse 13. Hine yaskal avdi yarm v'nisa v'goy ma'od. Behold my servant, which is Israel, we know from before. But who is speaking there? That's what's key. Who's speaking in 52, verse 13? God is speaking. Behold, my servant will be very wise, will be raised up. What's going to happen? Nations are going to be shocked. Why? They're going to look upon him. And what are they going to find? Something completely perplexing. What was not told to them, Ra'u, they will see. They will see something that they had never heard before. And what they had never heard, they will finally understand. So God is speaking there. So that's why there is sense in that cutoff. Because there, God is telling us that the Goyim, the nations of the world, had a completely mistaken understanding about the Jew. The Jew is a misunderstood nation. The nations looked at the Jew as an accursed nation, as a dark nation, as an ugly nation. But at the end of days, the Goyim are going to go, wow. They're going to put their hands over their mouth, and they're going to be in complete shock. Could you imagine? Mashiach is going to come now. We're very, very close to the end. We're in the last moments now. It's already happening. It's unfolding now. Do you know what's going to happen in the world? Do you understand how the world's going to be shocked? The Jew, who we hated and despised and thought was the ugliest? And so that's where the break is. The break 53:1 is, now the Goyim begins speaking. From 53:1 through 53:8, the Gentile kings of nations are speaking in the Messianic age. They are absolutely shocked. And that's why the first passage begins with a question, and it's really a rhetorical question. The rhetorical question, Mihem l'shmu asenu. Who would have believed what we now heard? Look at the last words. I don't make this complicated, but 52, verse 15 is, V'asher lo shamu hisbarnu. What they had not heard, hisbarnu, they will understand. Mihem l'shmu asenu. Same word, shema, hear. Who would have believed what we're now hearing? Uzrei Hashem ami niglusa. And the armored Lord, look who it is being unplucked, who it's open to. So there are 3 sections in this pericope. 52, verse 13 through 15, God is speaking, telling us that my servant is going to be raised up. Verse 14 is, in the past, all the Goyim thought that you are low and filthy and dirty and horrible. And 15, finally, the Goyim are going to see the emes, okay? And it says they're kings of nations, so you know it's talking about the Goyim. This is what everyone doesn't get. If you don't understand Isaiah 83, it's because you don't know who's speaking. If you don't know who's speaking, go home. Now, is Isaiah easy? No. Why? Because almost all of it is poetry. 95% of Isaiah is poetry. And we could say many things about poetry, but one of them is very important, if texts are employing some sort of poetry, this dense language, symbolic language, the context becomes essential to survive and understand them. Do you get that? So that's 53, 1 through 8. And then 9, 10, 11, and 12, those last 4 passages, God resumes speaking, and the key is he says, he makes a deal with the servant, if you'll make your soul a restitution, so then you're going to have children, Yarazera, you're going to have long life. It doesn't make any sense if it's talking about God, like God is promising God he's going to have a wife and kids. Oh, ridiculous. He's going to have a long life. God is forever. And the desire of Hashem will be matzliach, will succeed in your hand. That's the deal. Hashem is saying, Im toshem osem nafshay. So it's really gorgeous. So that's what's going on. For the last 4 verses, 9, 10, 11, 12, God resumes speaking. But it's all speaking about the servant, and therefore it is correctly seen as one pericope, one section. 54 is going to continue, but it's a different angle, because there it's now God dealing with Israel in the singular as a woman who's suffering, who has no children, and Hashem is promising her, who's Israel. Even Christians recognize Isaiah 54 is Israel in the singular, who suffers, who's despised. And Hashem says ultimately, you should know that no weapon formed against you will succeed. This is like the waters of Noah. You know, it's so gorgeous. You can lose your mind. 55 is, how do I come attached to this? How do I go right? 55 is instructions how to get away from sin. No cross, no Golgotha, no Calvary, no blood, no lamb, no shmam, none of that. Turn back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he'll forgive you. It's mamish gorgeous. Mamish gorgeous. Your mamish could fall apart. But just know this. If one thing you understood from what I just said, know this. When you have Sfarim, books, that are holy in Tanakh, we'll take Isaiah as most famous, which are 90%, more than 90% poetry, you must know the context. If you have a sefer in Tanakh where you don't have poetry, but rather the prophet is employing standard prose, then you don't really need the context. You always need the context to understand how we got there. But if you, as I took a easy example, you could read Leviticus 11 out of context and know exactly what it's talking about, because there's no poetry. This is how you identify a clean animal. This is how you identify an unclean animal, period, finish. Let us hope that people will turn to the Tanakh, turn to the Holy Scriptures, and accept the God of Israel in their lives, and we should see the coming of the true Mashiach, b'meheira b'yameinu, quickly in our time. Thank you for your thoughtful question. If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא עת נעשה בחפצו כל